You are fake news.
This video is brought to you by a brand new app designed to revolutionise the news landscape. News Voice gives you a personalised news feed by aggregating major news sites, as well as international and independent media. You get breaking news and up-to-date stories from multiple sources all in one place. Each news story shows multiple sources which are all tagged with their bias and perspective. It's a completely open and democratised platform for news, and it's completely free. Download the News Voice app from the link in the description. It won't cost you a cent. The academic journal Gender, Place and Culture is the world's 13th most influential women's studies academic journal. Back in May, it published a research paper called Human Reactions to Rape Culture and Queer Performativity at Urban Dog Parks in Portland, Oregon. Its author, Helen Wilson, PhD, holds a doctorate in Feminist Studies and is currently a lead researcher at the Portland Ungendering Research Initiative in Portland, Oregon. She works full-time as a researcher and part-time as a diversity activist and consultant in the local Portland area. Her primary research interests are in applied feminist and queer theories, human-animal relations and gender performativity. She has a particular interest in dogs, dog rights, human-dog relations, and the intersection of gender and the lived experiences of dogs as a primary human companion living with three of them. Here are some of my favourite bits. Dog parks are petri dishes for canine rape culture. They offer a very public view into the ways human companions foster and perpetuate masculinist systems of communal oppression across species and in public spaces. Averaging across my data in my observational vicinity, there was approximately one dog rape/humping incident every 60 minutes, 1,004 documented dog rape/humping incidents, and one dog fight every 71 minutes, 847 documented dog fights. There was not a single incident when I overheard the word bitch being used to refer to a female dog by a female human companion, but this word was heard a total of 108 times by male human companions. Within this distribution, 22 males used the word more than once, with one male using it 11 times in a single hour on one afternoon. Well, maybe the dog's name was Bitch. My first dog's name was Dog, bless that bitch. By analogy, by publicly or otherwise openly and suddenly yelling at males when they begin to make sexual advances on females, and by making firm and repeated stands against rape culture in society, activism and media, human males may be metaphorically shocked out of regarding sexual violence, sexual harassment and rape culture as normative, which may decrease rape rates and disrupt rape culture and emancipate rape condoning spaces. It is also not politically feasible to leash men, yank their leashes when they misbehave, or strike men with leashes or other objects in an attempt to help them desist from sexual aggression and other predatory behaviours. Now obviously this is fucking insane, and pretty hilarious, but it gets even funnier, because Dr. Helen Wilson does not exist. The paper was written by academics James Lindsay, Helen Pluckrose and Peter Boghossian, as part of a year-long project to expose a kind of political corruption in what they've appropriately dubbed Grievance Studies.
Gotta read you something. Dear Dr. Helen Wilson, I have now closely considered the revisions of your manuscript, Dog Park, and will recommend its publication in Gender, Place and Culture. You have done very good work to address the issues the reviewers raised and have clarified your arguments. Thank you for your contribution to Gender, Place and Culture, and I hope to be seeing your manuscript in print. Yours truly, PhD, Managing Editor, Gender, Place and Culture. We have an accepted paper in the #1 feminist geography journal. The reviewers are worried that we didn't respect the dog's privacy.
That's the concern.
We respected the genitals.
Now, a few days ago, Gender, Place and Culture published the following. Retraction notice. We, the editors and publishers of Gender, Place and Culture, have retracted the following article. Helen Wilson, Human Reactions to Rape Culture and Queer Performativity at Urban Dog Parks in Portland, Oregon. Published online on May 22, 2018. This is due to a breach of the following publish agreement clause signed by the author during the publication process. You warrant that all persons who have a reasonable claim to authorship are named in the article as co-authors, including yourself, and you have not fabricated or misappropriated anyone's identity, including your own. Yeah, it was retracted because of a breach of their publication agreement. It had nothing to do with the fact that the research paper was, you know, utterly fucking insane. Following an investigation into this paper triggered by the publisher and editor shortly after publication, we have undertaken a number of checks to confirm the author's identity. These checks have shown this to be a hoax paper, submitted under false pretenses, and as such we are retracting it from the scholarly record. So the editor and publisher launched an investigation into the paper shortly after its publication in May. I'm sure it's just a huge coincidence that they didn't publish their retraction until October 5th, 3 days after Lindsay, Pluckrose and Bogosian went public with their project.
Oh, God, it's like...
Now, their project wasn't limited to doggy rape culture. The team wrote a number of intentionally broken and downright fucking retarded research papers. In fact, they've made their entire archive publicly accessible. There's a link in the description. All up, they managed to get 7 of their research papers accepted by supposedly reputable academic journals, including a paper titled The Conceptual Penis, that argues that penises are responsible for climate change, and one titled Our Struggle is My Struggle, Solidarity Feminism as an Intersectional Reply to Neoliberal and Choice Feminism, which is a rewrite of Chapter 12 of Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf from the perspective of an intersectional feminist. So essentially they replaced the word Jew with the word male and bang, feminist academia.
What appears beyond dispute is that making absurd and horrible ideas sufficiently politically fashionable can get them validated at the highest levels of academic grievance studies.
We rewrote a section of Mein Kampf as intersectional feminism, and this journal has accepted it.
Alten, stolzen Waffenträger unseres Volkes, die nicht minder traditionsgefestigte.
Now, they haven't done all this just to take the piss, although it is fucking hilarious. As I mentioned, the trio's goal was to expose a kind of political corruption within academia.
We think studying topics like gender, race, and sexuality is worthwhile, and getting it right is extremely important. The problem is how these topics are being studied right now. A culture has developed in which only certain conclusions are allowed, like those that make whiteness and masculinity problematic. The fields we're concerned about put social grievances ahead of objective truth.
There's this kind of like religious architecture in their mind where privilege is sin, privilege is evil, and then they've identified education as the place where it has to be fixed. So you can come up with these really nasty arguments like, well, let's put white kids in chains on the floor at school as an educational opportunity. And if you frame it in terms of overcoming privilege, and then you frame their resistance, that they won't want this to happen to them, that they would complain about this. If you frame that in terms of, oh, they only complain about that because they're privileged and they can't handle it because their privilege made them weak, then it's right in.
You'll find links to their project folder as well as relevant videos and articles in the description. Go and have a look, it's fucking hilarious. Cheerio.
Recession! Give me better times, give me better times. Recession!